Good morning. Today I'm going to show you a video of the game that I've made. It's basically a diorama of what Minnesota looked like back in 1955. The location of this is at 10 Mile Lake, which is halfway between Hackensack and Walker. This is Cass County 50, the country road that runs along the north shore of 10 Mile Lake. When it runs between Portage Lake, which is there in the distance, and 10 Mile down there, it gives off a lake access road. At the end of the lake access road, my grandfather, back in the 1930s, built a cabin. We used to go up there every year and spend the summer visiting. The lake access road on present Google Maps looks just about the same as it did back in 1955. The brown building coming up is a two-room garage where Grandma stored her car. During the summer, we would sometimes stay up here in the upper cabin. This is where I learned that you should not sit down in poison ivy and that betadine will stain your underwear forever. This is 10 Mile. It's about 3 miles across at this point. It's a spring-fed lake, which always confused me because I didn't realize that you could have a lake without a river going into it and coming out of it. So for that reason, I kept on walking along the shore trying to find the origin. On the left is an abandoned building, famous only because we once found a huge turtle there. And this is the cabin. And the cabin was initially probably this color. It became more and more chocolate over the years as people painted the wood. On the right are the trees, ash trees that Jan Bagley had problems with when she was learning to drive. I do remember my grandmother getting up very early in the morning to wash out sheets and hang them on the line. We'll go inside in a moment. I want to take you back to the bent tree first. There's some discussion as to whether the sundial actually was around in 1955. I remember it from very early in my visits here, but I'm not sure whether it had been replaced at that time. Indians used to bend trees along lake shores in order to use them as navigational markers. This probably is an indication that this is the closest you can get to Portage. Over in the distance, you see the Ploggy's boat, and there's the Ploggy's boathouse. Down here, I used to tease garter snakes when I was much smaller. This is the dock, or one version of the dock. It's taken from an early black and white film that shows the chair on the end of the dock. I'm going to go back up to the cabin now. Fish house wasn't built in 1955, but you can see the raspberry bushes in the back. We're going to go into the house. Now, pictures of the inside of the house were all black and white and cover a number of decades. So all the furniture you'll see is guesswork as far as color is concerned, and may or may not have been in the cabinet one time. Sorry about the camera work here. The stone steps and the stone on the fireplace are all taken from actual photos that I took of the chimney back in 2000 during my last visit there. This is the inside of the cabin. The picture on the wall is a watercolor that my grandfather painted sometime after 1945, and shows his idea of the cabin as being mustard colored. A lot of changes happened in the cabin over the years. The Indian belt curtains changed at least 3 times. Into the room further, and there's the step stool. The book on the table is about the conquest of tuberculosis, and Grandpa Burns is mentioned in it. The article here is from a magazine called Health, and is about the dedication of the Anoka State Hospital building, dedicated to Grandpa Burns. The people in the picture are my grandmother, the Bagley children, and Ruth Ann Bagley, looking fondly at an oil painting of Herbert Burns. Grandma and Grandpa had a large depression glass collection, some of which is shown here. Others are displayed down in the breezeway, which we'll get to in a minute. Here's the old organ. Here's the steam table. I have very few pictures of the rest of the cabin, so I need help with memories of where everything was. The doors, the counters, pictures, anything that you can use, anything that you think you can help me with, I would appreciate it. And we're going to go down the breezeway slant. This area is where I slept. I'll show you the bed in a minute. Here's the farm table and the big hutch that held a lot of carnival glass. There's the rollaway bed. There's the 2 windows in the wall. One of them was a bedroom window and one of them was a bathroom window. There's the bed I slept in and the books that I read while I was here. There's the picture of Grandma's. There is Grandma's window, and the wall, the desk. I don't remember anything about the wall or the desk. So the desk is merely a placeholder for when I actually get some idea of where the desk was, what was in the desk, what the desk looked like. The yoke is actually taken from a picture that the Minnesota Historical Society was nice enough to send me of the yoke. Grandma donated it to the Minnesota Historical Society, and it's still in their basement. This is the area of the kitchen, Grandma's kitchen. Again, I don't know where everything was. There is the hearing aid chest, which I think is probably bigger, but I'm not sure. The phone and the cabinet, I'm not sure of either. All I remember are the needlepoint pictures that my mother made back in the 20s. The hens and chickens toy that hung about there next to Grandma's door. And the picture of the Burns children, Elizabeth, Hugh, and Mary. There's a wringer washer back here, maybe two, but I don't know much about them. So I made this diorama to relive some memories, and I hope this brings some memories back to you. And I hope yours are better than mine. So I could use your help with this. If you see things I've gotten wrong, colors, positions, little memorabilia, things that you remember, please leave comments below. As this memory is something very important to me, and I'm hoping that it's important to you as well. Thank you.